Drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes. I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets.
Good Saturday morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? I am your sports guy, Kendrick, and you're watching the TFG Sports Show, the best 30-minute sports show on social media. I hope you got your jackets on. It's a little chilly because we're getting close to that day. Turkey Day is right around the corner. I hope everybody is getting all their food preparations and all that good stuff, and I hope you getting prepared to enjoy family and friends. So again, you're watching the TFG Sports Media Show. I am your sports guy, Kendrick, the best 30-minute sports show on social media. And guess what? I forgot last week. I got to keep reminding you, we're at a new day and a new time. You can check us out on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on the TFG Sports Media YouTube channel and on Facebook. And while we're talking about that, make sure you come in, hit that like, subscribe to the channel. You at 900 subscribers. I need 100 more to get to 1,000. We almost there. Come on in there if you haven't. Make sure you subscribe to TFG Sports Media on YouTube. And also make sure you like and follow TFG Sports Media on Facebook. So again, we could about 5 days away from Turkey Day. Like to know what you guys got going on for your Turkey Day. What you gonna do, the traditional Thanksgiving spread, or are you gonna do something different? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you come in, holler at your boys, so we can chat a taste about the world's sports world. What's going on? What we've had going on this week. We're gonna get into our meat and potatoes, but before we do that, make sure you come in, you holler at me, say hello. Hit that like button, hit that share button to your social media platforms, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get to our quick hits before we get into our meat and potatoes. The Texas Rangers are going to host the 2024 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. That came down this week. This will be the second time in Rangers franchise history that they will host the All-Star Game. The last time they did it was in 1995 at the ballpark at Arlington. So again, Rangers will be hosting the 2024 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Now, let's talk about some football. The XFL. XFL had their draft this week, which they're going to be kicking off their season in February 2023. Matter of fact, February 18th is when the season kick off. Now, some of the notable names that were picked: quarterback Ben DiNucci, if that name sounds familiar, he was with the Cowboys a couple of years. Quarterback A.J. McCarron from the University of Alabama, played a few seasons in the NFL with the Cincinnati Bengals. Wide receiver K.D. Cannon, if that sounds familiar, for my Big 12 fans. He came out of Baylor. He was picked by DC Defenders. Vic Beasley, line, played a couple of seasons with the Atlanta Falcons. He was picked as well. Martavis Bryant, he was a wide receiver for the Steelers, I believe, for a couple of seasons. And Matt Elam, a safety, who was also picked again in XFL draft. And the DC Defenders picked Marquette King, a punter who was with the Oakland Raiders for a few seasons. Now, it's like 8 teams. Other XFL, it's the Houston Roughnecks, the Vegas Vipers, who was previously the Tampa Bay Vipers, the Orlando Guardians, who was formerly the New York Guardians, St. Louis Battle Hacks, I believe is what that is, the San Antonio Brahmas, who was previously, they're replacing the LA Wildcats, and again, the Seattle Sea Dragons and the DC Defenders. Those are all the teams that are in the XFL. Again, their season kicks off February 18th, 2023. Now, college football playoff rankings came out again this past Tuesday. We're getting closer and closer to getting down to that Final Four for the national championship. The rankings stay pretty much the same. Georgia's at number 1, Ohio State number 2, Michigan is at number 3, TCU is at number 4, Tennessee is at number 5, LSU is at number 6, USC is at number 7, Alabama is at number 8, and Clemson is at number 9, and number 10 is Utah. So again, college football playoff rankings came this. They did it again Tuesday, and Georgia's still holding on to number 1. Again, the first the top 4 teams would be the teams that would play in the semifinal tournament, and then they would play the winner of those semifinal games would play in the national championship game sometime in January. Now, college football Saturday is the day. Wasn't really a lot of good games happening, but got number 4 TCU at Baylor. That's at 11 a.m. Matter of fact, they just kicked off. That's going on Fox right now. And then we got number 1 Georgia at Kentucky at 2:30 p.m. on CBS. And then Alcorn State. I got to give my HBCU some love. Jackson State at Alcorn State. You got to find that somewhere on YouTube. I believe it may be on ESPN streaming or something, but they playing, I believe, at 1:30. So I'm going to try to find that game. Jackson State is looking to stay undefeated. They've already clinched the SWAC East. Now, let's talk about NFL Week 11 preview. And, yeah, it's a little – I'm a little down right now because looks like that's a wrap for my Green Bay Packers. As much as it pains me to say this, we need a little help, and it starts this Sunday with them doggone Dallas Cowboys at the Minnesota Vikings. And that's where we're going to begin our NFL Week 11 preview. We're going to start with the Dallas, who 6-3, will be at the Minnesota Vikings, who are 8-1, and that's the late game on CBS. The series record, the Cowboys lead the all-time series 18-15. The last time these teams met, Cowboys beat the Vikings 20-16. That was October of last year. And guess who was the quarterback? Cooper Rush. So we'll be Dak Prescott this time. We're going to see what happens. Now, the Cowboys offense is 8th overall. Is rushing, is 8th in the league at rushing, and is 26th in passing in his offense. The Vikings defense is 16th against the run and 29th against the pass. The Vikings offense is 7th passing the football, and they're 23 rushing the football. And the Cowboys defense is 4th against the pass, defending the pass, and 29th defending the rush. So if you really listen to that matchup, the Vikings are going to want to run the ball with Dalvin Cook, which he's one of the top running backs in the league. You can run that football on the Cowboys defense. They 29th in the league, and they gave up over 200 yards to the Packers last week. So the Vikings probably going to try to do a heavy dose of Dalvin Cook because the Cowboys pass defense is, again, ranked number 4 in the league. Now, the Vikings offense, again, I think they should try to run the ball. But they got that Justin Jefferson at wide receiver, man. He's a handful. He's very talented, and they got Adam Thielen. So look for Kirk Cousins to throw it around, but I think they should balance it a little bit. Now, as far as the Cowboys offense, I think they got to stick to running the football. The Vikings defense is 16th against the rush. That's pretty middle of the pack in the league. But the Cowboys got the 8th best rushing offense in the league. Tony Pollard has rushed for 100 yards in back-to-back games. Looks like Zeke Elliott will be playing this Sunday on tomorrow. So I think the Cowboys really got to run the ball more so than pass it. But their defense definitely is the key to this game. Watch the Cowboys defense against the rush and see if the Vikings try to run a big dose of Dalvin Cook. Again, Cowboys defense got a tough task ahead of them. They starting with this game. They face Dalvin Cook. Next week, they face Saquon Barkley of the Giants, and then they face Jonathan Taylor of the Colts, all elite running backs. Now, Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson needs 88 yards to pass Randy Moss, 4,163 yards for the most career receiving yards in NFL history over a player's first 3 seasons. Again, Justin Jefferson out of LSU. If you're talking about the top 5 receivers in the game right now, he's definitely in that conversation. Will Zeke play? They saying looks like he will play. Again, running back Tony Pollard has had consecutive games for him in his career. He's been running the ball really, really well. Will they go back to what they've been using with that formula, using Zeke and Tony Pollard, kind of thunder and lightning? We're going to see what happens with that. Now, the Cowboys Vikings have played 4 consecutive years in the regular season. Since the start of 2001, the Cowboys are 6-1 coming off a loss. So that tells me most of the time when they lose, they normally follow that up with a win. And I think at this point, I definitely, I think it's a must win. I think this is a must win game for the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb had a heck of a game at Lambeau. He's coming off. He caught 11 balls for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Is this more of what we're going to see out of him? We'll see. But I think James Washington is going to be coming back. I don't know if he's activated for this game, but that'll be another wide receiver they can get in the mix with Noah Brown. He's back. I don't think he's 100%, but he's back. And Michael Gallup, has he really get over that knee injury? So the Cowboys wide receiving core looks like it's trying to make some strides. The Vikings have won their last 7. They won their 7 straight games, all by 1 score. All those victories, again, the Vikings are 8-1, and they won 7 of those games by 1 score. And they got 2 of those victories are over winning teams. That's the Dolphins and the Bills last week. So Cowboys at Minnesota, I think it's a must win for Dallas. Vikings are on a high. They playing good football. I think they're probably the 3rd best team in the NFC at this point. Who you got? My prediction, I think this is going to be a tight one, but I'm going with the Vikings to squeak this one out. Another one. I'm going with the Vikings 27-24 over the Cowboys, but I definitely need the Cowboys to help us out a little bit up there in Green Bay because it's not looking good. Now, let's move on to our other NFL preview game. The Eagles coming off their first loss of the season. 8-1. They are at the Indianapolis Colts. This is somewhat of a homecoming for the head coach of the Eagles, Nick Sirianni. He actually was the offensive coordinator for the Colts under Frank Reich. So he'll be facing his old team. Eagles, again, are 8-1, coming off that loss to the Commanders on Monday night. Colts are 4-5-1, getting their first win under interim head coach Jeff Saturday. They beat the Raiders last week, and this is an early game kickoff. This is a 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. The series record, the Colts lead this series 10-9. Last time these teams met, the Eagles defeated the Colts 20-16 in 2018. The Eagles lost to the Commanders this past Monday night, 32-21, and the Colts defeated the Raiders 25-20. Again, in Jeff Saturday's first game as interim head coach. Now, the Colts have went back to quarterback Matt Ryan, 37-year-old Matt Ryan. He's back. They tried out Sam Ehlinger, interim head coach. Jeff Saturday said, you know what? I'm bringing a vet back. And he played a pretty solid game. Ryan didn't have any turnovers versus the Raiders. But the Colts are going to have their hands full with this Eagles defensive line. The Eagles defense has 29 sacks. That's 5th in the league. And this added someone to that defensive line. They signed defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh. They just signed him a couple of days ago. So they adding some to that line because they got some injuries up and down that defensive line. Now, the Eagles will be without tight end Dallas Goedert. Shoulder. He injured, and he was put on IR, which means he's going to miss a minimum of 4 games. Now, the Colts are without linebacker Shaquille Leonard. He had back surgery, and he is on IR. So he's going to miss a minimum of 4 games as well. Now, the Eagles have won the past 3 in this series after losing the previous 4 versus the Colts. Again, Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni spent 3 seasons as Colts offensive coordinator before getting the Eagles head coaching job. Now, the Eagles are an opportunistic defense. They have a league-high 20 takeaways, and they have the defensive back that leads the league in interceptions. That's cornerback C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He leads the league with 6 INTs already. I see the Eagles still smarting from that loss to the Commanders. They didn't play well. They had some miscues there. The Colts are riding off they high. They're getting their interim head coach his first win, but I think they're going to be brought back down to earth. I picked the Eagles to win this game to improve to 9-1. I picked the Eagles to win 30-17. Now, let's move on to the nightcap. The Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs, the 7-2 Chiefs are at the Los Angeles Chargers, who are 5-4. And this is the Sunday night game series. Chiefs lead this all-time series 66-58-1. Again, this is an AFC West division game. The last meeting between these two, the Chiefs defeated the Chargers 27-24 back on September 15th in KC. Last week, the Chiefs got the W over the Jaguars 27-17, and the Chargers lost to the 49ers 22-16. Chiefs offense, they number 1 rated offense overall, and they first passed the Chargers defense They 20th overall, and they 13th against the pass. Key to this game, can Mahomes can he throw that ball around the field? I think he got a couple of wide receivers that may be banged up. I know Mecole Hardman is banged up. So we'll see. Now the Chargers defense, linebacker Khalil Mack, he has 7.5 sacks in 10 meetings versus the Chiefs. So he's been able to get to Mahomes. Will the Chiefs offensive line be able to hold him in check? That's going to be a key to this game as well. Now the Chiefs wide receiver Juice Smith-Schuster and cornerback Chris Lamons are in concussion protocol. So that's probably going to be a game time decision. They questionable to play tomorrow night. And again, Mecole Hardman, the other wide receiver, is dealing with an abdominal injury. So the Chiefs are kind of a little nicked up at that wide receiver position. Now the Chiefs have won in overtime in both visits to SoFi Stadium, 23-20 in 2020 and 34-28 last December. The Chiefs have won 11 straight games in November. So the Chiefs don't win. They don't lose in November. They on a hot streak. Patrick Mahomes has won 57 of his first 75 starts, trailing only the late from Oakland Raiders quarterback Ken 58 for the most over that span to begin a career. So I got that record probably will be broken, and I think it would be broken Sunday night, or it'll be tied at least Sunday night. Now, Chargers running back Austin Eckler has 67 receptions this season, and that's the 5th most in the league, and tops for a non-wide receiver. So Austin Eckler, Los Angeles Chargers, he's a great runner. He's a versatile runner. He's kind of, him and Christian McCaffrey are somewhat similar in what they bring to that position. My pick, I'm picking the Chiefs to get it done, and I'm picking them to move to 8-2 and looking like maybe they might be the best team in the AFC at this point. I'm picking the Chiefs to defeat the Chargers 33-23. That AFC West division, again, I thought this was going to be the toughest division out of all of them, but it looks like right now the Chiefs are kind of running away with this division. They're sitting atop at 7-2. The Chargers is right behind them at 5-4, two wins behind them in the win column. The Broncos are a mess. They're at 3-6, and the Raiders a mess at 4 at 2-7. So again, I am kind of shocked at the way the AFC West division has turned out. Thursday night game I mentioned quickly. Don't want to talk about it too much. Packers took that L at home, 27-17 to the Titans. Titans improved to 6-3. Packers dropped to 4-6. Again, I think this season is a wash. But again, as much as it pains me, I got to root for the Cowboys Sunday to even give us a glimmer of hope to even do anything this season. I think it's a wrap. So anyway, we're moving on. Producer extraordinaire Tyler, let's move on to our next topic. The NFL will honor the late, great John Madden on Thanksgiving Day. You heard that right. The NFL will honor the late, great John Madden on Thanksgiving Day with numerous stories for all three networks will be paying homage to him with different stories. With the early game, I believe is Buffalo and Detroit on CBS, and then you got the middle game. The Fox game is the Cowboys hosting the Giants, and then the late game, I forgot who's the late game, which is the NBC game. But all three of those games will be doing something special to honor John Madden, because we all know if you watch football on Thanksgiving Day, John Madden loved Thanksgiving Day. He ended up starting, giving the Madden Awards and all that, giving away the big turkey legs for the player of the game on Thanksgiving Day. Because the thing is, we lost John Madden. He passed away the end of last year, and by that time he had somewhat retired. He wasn't doing football games anymore anyway. So the NFL really didn't get a chance to honor him during his most favorite day. So Thanksgiving Day, you will see honors all day. CBS and Fox will be doing it all day. Charles Moore, what's going on? Happy Saturday to you, my brother. Thanks for dropping in. So again, if you don't know John Madden, most people know him more so as the NFL analyst John Madden, more so than the coach. But he was the Oakland Raiders coach for 10 years, and he won 2 Super Bowls with the Oakland Raiders. But, we all know Mr. John Madden through the Madden football game. He's probably more popular for that than anything else. But again, I think it's only rightfully that the NFL will do these honorees and honor him all day on Thanksgiving Day. So you can just sit in front of your TV with family and friends, eating your turkey and whatever you want, and check out the all the honors that would be happening for the late great John Madden. And I also think that they will have those stadiums will have. I believe they're going to have like a picture of him painted on the 20-yard line. I believe as well. Hey, you doing? Thanks, Jacktown 7785. Thanks for dropping in. Hey, you doing a good job streaming. I appreciate that, Jacktown 7785, and I appreciate you watching. Make sure if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button to TFG Sports Media on YouTube, and make sure you follow it on Facebook. So again, salute to John Madden. Can't wait to Thursday because I'm gonna be right there plopped in front of the TV watching all those games. Now let's move on to our next story. Mr. Tyler, my producer back there that's running the show. It's tragic story to come out of the University of Virginia on Sunday night. Three Virginia football players were shot and killed. Lavelle Davis Jr., Deshaun Perry, Devin Chandler were shot to death by a former Virginia football player on Sunday night after they got back from watching a play in D.C., I believe, on a charter bus. Actually, the play they went to go see was Till, I believe, Emmett Till. They went as a class, and Sunday night they arrived back on campus, and the alleged shooter, or the suspected shooter, Christopher Darnell Jones Jr., who's 22, decided to pull out a gun and shoot and kill these three young men. It was five people shot altogether. One was the one that survived, running back Mike Hollis. He's still recovering. He was shot in the back. And one other student is said to be in good condition. So gun violence has reared its ugly head on our school campuses again. And this is just a tragic story, man. Now you got three families that have to bury their young men right before the holidays, and then you got another young man. Their family probably will have to spend it with him in the hospital because he's going to have Mike Hollis. He's going to have a long way to recovery. And so it's just, then the students and the aftermath of the trauma of dealing with this. By the way, the University of Virginia did cancel their game today versus Coastal Carolina, which was going to be their last home finale. And they do play Virginia Tech, they rival, next week, but there hasn't been a decision made if they're going to play that game or not. Now, the suspected shooter he was arrested. He's denied bond. He faces 3 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of malicious wounding, and additional gun-related charges. And there's so much info on this story. There was reports are saying that there was a report of this young man, the shooter, Jones Jr., back in September, of someone alerting the Virginia staff that allegedly he had a gun. And he also, come to find out, doing background checks, he did have some other charges, some misdemeanor charges concerning a gun that he never reported to the university. Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. Now, a local television station out there in Virginia interviewed his dad, and according to Darnell Jr.'s dad, Darnell Jones Jr.'s dad, is that his son told him that he had been being bullied. And through a text message that Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. was being bullied, and that's what he texted his dad. His dad said he told him, "Don't worry about it, just don't ignore it." This is all according to his father. So regardless if he was being bullied, we don't know. That's not been confirmed or anything. All we do know is that lives have been changed. Christopher Darnell Jones Jr., his life is over. He shot and killed 3 young men that had promising futures, cold-blooded, and one of the young men he shot was asleep, according to reports on the bus. Mike Hollis, who's recovered, and the other individual that's recovered, they're probably going to have to deal with survivor's remorse because they were able to survive this attack, this heinous murder. And the young man that survived, who's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, his mother interviewed, and Mike Hollis actually went back to try to save. He started running when Jones Jr. pulled the gun on him, and shot him in the back. But he went to try to save some of those other students on the bus instead of just running. Miss Toria, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining me. So there's no winner in this. My heart goes out to the families of Lavelle Davis Jr., Terry, and Devin Chandler, because all of the words that have been talked about those three young men had so much. They were just outstanding, upstanding young men that had their whole future ahead of them. And Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. took that away from their families. So again, gun violence in this country has reared its ugly head. We can sit here and send condolences. Congress can do all that, and I'm not going to make this political, but Congress can do all this, and the politicians can say our heart goes out and send condolences. We stop it. We don't want to hear your condolences and your heart goes out. We don't want to hear that. No more politicians. We don't want that. Y'all full of BS. You need to do something about these gun laws. That's what people want to hear. So you can keep your condolences and prayers and all that, in my opinion. But I'm just speaking for me. So we sending my heart goes out to the University of Virginia, the students, to the families of those that have been affected by this. This is such a horrible time, a terrible time during the holidays. Again, we're gonna send love and light to all those families and all the University of Virginia students that were affected. Charles says, prayers for everyone involved. I agree. Senseless, Charles says. Ms. Williams says, who knows, those young men could have been the next future leaders. We need gun laws changed. You're right. They full of BS. Thank you, Ms. Williams. We need them changed, but I don't see it happening because we too concerned. Congress is too concerned about filling their pockets with money from lobbyists. But anyway, this is not a political show. This is a sports show. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to our next topic. We're gonna lighten it up a little bit. Now, man, I saw this: the top 75 LA Lakers. That should be Lakers of all time. LA Times did and their staff put together their 75 greatest Lakers of all time. And this is only Lakers. This survey, this was put together by the staff members of the LA Times. And when I first looked at it, I looked at the top 10. I was like, okay, I don't have a problem with one of them. But here is the top 10, and I want to get Charles. I want to get your thoughts on it. Ms. Williams, I think you're a Laker fan, if I'm not mistaken. I want to get your thoughts on it. And we're going to start at number 10. Now, again, this 75 greatest Lakers, if you're wondering why 75, the Lakers are celebrating their 75th anniversary this year. So that's why they did 75. Ms. Williams says, I'm so pissed off at that damn list. Those staff members are nuts. Okay, we're gonna start at number 10, Wilt Chamberlain. At number 9, James Big Game Worthy. A tie for number 7 is George Mikan and LeBron James. Number 6 is Shaquille O'Neal. Number 5 is Elgin Baylor. Number 4 is Jerry West. Number 3 is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 2 is Kobe Bean Bryant. And the number 1 Laker of all time is Magic Johnson. And I think none of us are kind of shocked. I think, me personally, I said one, it was going to be between Magic or Kobe, 1 or 2. Either one. I could have went with Kobe at number 1 and Magic number 2. Anyway, but the biggest error I see in this top 10 is having Wilt Chamberlain at number 10 and LeBron James at number 7. First of all, LeBron James should not even be in the top 10 greatest Lakers of all time, period. In my opinion. He hadn't done much since he's been there 4 years. I mean, yeah, he won that championship. But outside of that, they've they played in the playing tournament once, got bounced, missed the playoffs once and got bounced, and been mediocre pretty much the whole time. Toya said, sorry, James should not have been on that list, or Davis. We're going to thank you. Well, I'm not saying they shouldn't be on the list. I think they probably they should be one of the top 75 Lakers of all time. but I don't think Anthony Davis definitely shouldn't be at 18. If you wonder who Anthony Davis is at 18. Anthony Davis is at 18, and he's ahead of Norm Nixon, Derek Fisher, AC Green. And I'm like, Davis shouldn't even be in the top 20, in my opinion. He shouldn't be in the top 10. He dang sure should be in front of Norm Nixon. But the biggest is Will Chamberlain is low. I wouldn't have Will Chamberlain at 10. I definitely wouldn't have had him at 10. I would have probably had him probably behind Shaq. I would have had him like at 7. In my opinion. And Worthy, I think Worthy should have been at 8. But again, the biggest flaw, LeBron James shouldn't have been in the top 10. I think he should be somewhere around 15, maybe. And Anthony Davis shouldn't even be in the top 20. He should be somewhere around 20s, in my opinion. Street clothes is what Charles Barkley called Anthony Davis, because he's in his street clothes more than he's in a Laker uniform. So anyway, I think this list was, this was 8 times writers. Just to name off a few real quick. Lamar Odom was at 25. A tie at 26 was Bob McAdoo and Robert Horry. Kurt Rambis was at 30. Nick Van Exel was at 37. They had Kyle Kuzma at 42. I'm like, what? Kyle Kuzma? Anyway, Glenn Rice was at 44. Luke Walton at 45. Dwight Howard at 46. Horace Grant at 72. Trevor Ariza at 74. I'm just naming a few. Again, Paul Gasol was at 12. Byron Scott was tied with Jamal Wicks at 14, and Michael Cooper was at 16. Anthony Davis was at 18, which I don't get, and Vlade Divac was at 29. So I don't know this list. Charles said his list is Kobe, Magic, Kareem, LeBron, and Anthony Davis should not be in the top 25. Thank you, Charles. I would have had LeBron in the top 20, but I wouldn't have Anthony Davis in the top 30. Toria says they have not been there that long. This is supposed to be all-time great Lakers to me that have not earned that title. I agree, Miss Toria. I agree with everything you said. So again, that's something to talk about. List are the list, and why is Watson on the list? I don't know. Well, he was on a couple of those. He was on those couple of those teams with Kobe. I think that they won a championship, Charles. So I guess that's why he on the list. I don't know. Again, you know how it is. These lists go. They are all subjective, in my opinion. And just because writers do them doesn't even make it any better. Because a lot of those writers, man, I think sometimes they be stuck on stupid, in my opinion. But that's just me. It's all subjective. And we'll go from there. So now we down to my hot mic moment. My hot mic moment, when I say hot mic moment, that is in the media game. Anytime you have a microphone in front of you, you're always supposed to be careful what you're saying, because somebody could be rolling on you, and what is somebody saving that? But my hot mic moment, I'm going to say what I want to say at this minute. And I'm talking about relationships. And in particular, a relationship that most people know about and knew how it ended for a long time. Talking about the Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson relationship. Well, Jimmy Johnson was he did an interview with the WFAA local CBS ABC affiliate in Dallas Fort Worth. Joe Trahan, who's the head anchor, and Jimmy says about his relationship, and he said this is the reason why they ended. Jimmy says that their relationship ended because Jerry Jones' thirst for recognition and jealousy of him is the main reason why that relationship ended, and why it's still somewhat fractured. I don't think any of us are surprised by that. I think we've all knew that's what it was, because Jerry always wants the attention and always want the applause and the credit for everything. Just like Jerry is being petty, because you know what? Why isn't Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor? And Jerry basically said, well, I put him in there when I'm ready. Okay, Jerry. You 80 years old now. You 81, I believe. He just made 81, I think. Or he may just turn 80 in October. You too old to be petty, bro. Now, did both of them have something to do with the relationship probably being fractured? I think so. But I think at this point, I think it's more Jerry. I think he just liked being petty. he just like doing stuff like that. Again, there's no reason why Jimmy Johnson shouldn't be in the Ring of Honor. It's been long enough. He went in the Hall of Fame for the Ring of Honor. Come on, Jerry. Now you need to cut this out. And I say this about relationships. And why I brought that up is because sometimes just because they with you don't necessarily mean they with you. If you can read between the lines. Some of those friends that you think was with you on the low key may not be with you. So always sit back and observe and and open your eyes to relationships, because sometimes relationships aren't all what they seem. So that's my hot mic moment for Saturday, November 19th. Again, this has been the TFG Sports Show. I'm your sports guy, Kendrick. I'm glad Charles came in. Appreciate you, brother, for checking me out. Miss Williams, always a faithful viewer coming in. Miss Williams says, have you heard any more about the lawsuit against the Washington team owner and Roger Goodell? He needs to be fired and frankly titled if they're not paying taxes. It's still the AG out of DC is still he's filing a civil lawsuit against the Commanders on a couple of different things, but yeah, it's probably going to be drug out, Miss Williams. It's going to be drug out. Charles says Jimmy is a Hall of Famer now. Who cares about the Ring of Honor? Cowboys fans care about that, and I think you can say that. But those that play for that organization, they care about that. That's just like those with the 49ers, Charles. You know, yeah, you can be in the Hall of Fame, but if you played your career and you gave your blood, sweat, and tears to an organization and you helped build, I think being in there honored by that team does mean something. So yeah, I mean, I get it, but I think that does mean something. Charles, great show, Kenny. Thank you, Charles. And yeah, great show. So yeah, I think it means something. So again, that's been my hot mic moment. Again, you've been watching TFG Sports Show. I'm your sports guy. If you haven't already, make sure you share this to your social media platforms. Subscribe to TFG Sports Media on YouTube. We're at 900 subscribers. Need 100 to get to 1,000 and keep it moving. Y'all go check that out. And make sure you follow and like TFG Sports Media on Facebook. Toria says, did you hear that Brady is being sued? No, I hadn't heard him being sued. Who's he being sued by, Ms. Williams? Thank you, Charles. Appreciate your support, my brother, as always. Who he's being sued by? I hadn't saw anything him about being sued. I know he need to try to win some games because Tampa Bay, they on the verge. They teetering on well, they in that AFC South division because it's kind of whack anyway. So they'll probably win that division. That division is whack. Speaking of divisions, I have to say this to my buddy Charles, my brother Charles. Hey, them 49ers, man, I think once they get a couple of them players back, I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with in the NFC, me personally. Oh, for the crypto money. Oh, I saw the headline. I hadn't read that. I would check into it. I saw a couple of people have lost money. Some people have lost a lot of money from that stuff too. So but I will check that out. So I want to wish everybody, Toria, Charles, Tyler, I want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving. I won't see you again on this show until Thanksgiving. I hope you spend time with family and friends and enjoy those moments with each other. And those that's watching later, I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And make sure, again, you like, share, subscribe to the channel. And make sure, remember, news time, new day, Saturdays, 11 a.m. Come check me out. Come join the show. Come join the party. It's always a party on TFG Sports Media. So again, you all enjoy the rest of your Saturday and your weekend. Go check out some college football. I'm your sports guy, Kendrick. We'll see you next week. I'm out. Deuces.
Yeah, money clip us now.